The vote happened in my parents' den, under the framed cross-stitch that said, "Family is forever." My sister Marissa sat on the arm of the sofa with her phone in her lap, counting raised hands like she was tallying a church raffle, while my 10-year-old son stood beside me holding the paper plate of brownies he had brought to share. When the 12th hand went up, my father cleared his throat and said, "It's decided. You and Noah need to sit out family gatherings until you can be respectful." Then my mother slid a yellow folder toward me and whispered, "Don't make this about money." My name is Lauren Whitaker. I'm 34 years old. What they didn't know was that the folder on that coffee table wasn't the folder that mattered. The real one was in my email, full of contracts with my signature, my debit card, and cancellation clauses they had never bothered to read. For 8 years, I had been the person who made my family look functional, not emotionally, administratively. I booked the banquet rooms for anniversaries. I paid deposits for graduation brunches. I ordered the cakes, reserved the tents, paid photographers, managed RSVP spreadsheets, and covered shortfalls when an aunt forgot to Venmo me or a cousin said payday was Friday. It started after my grandfather died, when everyone kept saying my mother was too overwhelmed to organize things. I was 26 then, newly divorced, working as a payroll coordinator, and I was good with dates, forms, invoices, and follow-up calls. So I became useful. And once you become useful in a family like mine, they stop seeing your labor as help. They see it as infrastructure. That year, the big event was supposed to be my parents' 40th wedding anniversary at Millstone Garden Hall. 118 guests, white linens, buffet dinner, DJ custom cake. A slideshow Marissa insisted had to be elegant, not depressing. The total estimated cost was $18,940. By the night of the vote, I had personally paid $6,200 in deposits, $2,000 to the venue, $1,800 to the caterer, $700 to the bakery, $600 to the photographer, another $1,100 scattered across flowers, invitations, linen upgrades, and a non-refundable tent hold because my mother wanted an outdoor cocktail hour but didn't want to think about rain. Every contract had my name on it, not my mother's, not my father's, not Marissa's, mine. So when my father told me I was banned from all Whitaker family events until further notice, I honestly thought, for one stunned second, that he had forgotten who had paid for them. Then Marissa smiled. That smile told me he hadn't forgotten. He had counted on me being too embarrassed to say it out loud. The whole fight had started 2 weeks earlier over something small, or at least that's what everyone kept pretending. My son, Noah, had asked why Marissa's twins were allowed to blow out candles at my mother's birthday dinner when he had been told not to touch the cake. I said calmly, "Mom, that felt unfair." My mother cried. Marissa accused me of ruining dinner. My father said I had always been transactional. That word hit me strangely because I was the only person in the room who actually had the transactions. I had receipts, but I still tried to fix it. I apologized for my tone. I texted my mother. I offered to take her to lunch. She left me on red for 9 days. Then came the family meeting. Noah begged me not to go, but my mother had written, "If you care about this family, you'll show up." So I did. I walked into that den thinking we were going to talk. Instead, my parents had arranged chairs in a half circle like a disciplinary board. My uncles were there, 2 cousins, my grandmother's sister, Marissa and her husband Greg, even my father's golf buddy, who had somehow become family enough to vote on whether my child and I belonged. My mother read from a typed page. She said I brought financial pressure into family spaces. She said I made people feel indebted. She said my habit of saving receipts was threatening. I remember staring at the paper in her hand and realizing it wasn't handwritten. It had margins, bullet points. Someone had drafted it. Marissa. When they voted, Noah's fingers tightened around mine until my knuckles hurt. After my father announced the decision, my son looked up at me and whispered, "Mom, are we not family?" Nobody answered him. Not one person. That was the moment something in me went very still. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't list amounts. I didn't say, "I paid for your anniversary party." I simply picked up my purse, took Noah's plate of brownies from his shaking hands, and walked out. In the car, I let him cry for 3 minutes before I started the engine. Then I drove home, opened my laptop, and searched Millstone Garden Hall cancellation policy. The contract was a PDF attached to an email from January 6th. I had read it before signing, but now every sentence looked different. Client of record, Lauren Elise Whitaker. Deposit, $2,000. Remaining balance due, 10 business days before event. Cancellation by client more than 30 days prior. Deposit forfeited, no further obligation. I wasn't trying to punish them. I was trying to make sure they couldn't use my money to host a party I had been formally excluded from. So I opened the caterer's contract. Same thing. Client, Lauren Whitaker. Payment method, my checking account ending in 4419. Cancellation permitted in writing up to 21 days before event. Then the bakery. Then the photographer. Then the florist. By midnight, I had drafted 5 cancellation emails. Professional, brief, no emotion. Please accept this message as written notice of cancellation pursuant to the agreement dated January 6th. Please confirm no additional balance will be charged. I hovered over send, and that was when a new email came in from Millstone Garden Hall. Subject line, updated anniversary event contact authorization. I opened it. At the bottom of the attached form, under primary event contact change, was Marissa's name. Under authorized by client, there was a signature that looked like mine if someone had practiced it badly. The date was 3 days before the vote. My sister hadn't just planned to ban me from the party I was paying for. She had tried to take control of the contract before I could cancel it. I stared at the signature until the letters stopped looking like letters. It was my name, but it wasn't my handwriting. My L was always looped. That one was sharp. My middle initial was missing. The end of Whitaker slanted upward like Marissa's did when she signed birthday cards and checks she promised to reimburse next week. For a full minute, I didn't move. Then I forwarded the email to myself again, saved the attachment, downloaded the original contract, and took screenshots of everything: the timestamp, the sender, the fake authorization form, the message header. Payroll teaches you one thing fast. If something is wrong, preserve the record before anyone realizes you noticed. Then I replied to Millstone. Hello, Karen. I did not authorize a change of primary event contact. The signature on the attached document is not mine. Please do not make any changes to this event account without speaking to me directly. I will call first thing in the morning. I hit send. Then I sent the 5 cancellation emails anyway. By then it was 12:41 a.m. Noah was asleep on the couch with his shoes still on. His cheeks were blotchy from crying, one hand tucked under his chin like when he was little. I covered him with a blanket and sat on the floor beside him until the first reply came in. The bakery confirmed cancellation at 1:08, the florist at 1:22, the photographer at 6:17 the next morning, apologizing and saying, "No further balance due." At 8:03, Karen from Millstone called. Her voice was careful. "Lauren, I'm so sorry. We received the contact update from your sister, and because the signature appeared to match the client name, one of our newer coordinators processed it. I've reversed that change." "Did Marissa send it from her email?" I asked. A pause. "Yes. Please send me the full paper trail." Another pause. "I can send you the submitted form and confirmation of reversal." "Good, and I'm canceling the event under the original agreement." Karen exhaled like she had been expecting that. "Because you're more than 30 days out, your only forfeiture is the deposit. You will not owe the remaining venue balance. Please confirm by email." "I will." At 8:19, my phone started ringing. Marissa. I let it go to voicemail. Then my mother. Then my father. Then Greg. Then my mother again. By 8:45, the family group chat, which had been silent for 9 days while my son wondered why his grandmother didn't love him, suddenly became a fireworks show. Marissa. "Did you cancel Mom and Dad's anniversary party?" Uncle Ray. Lauren. What is going on, Mom? Please call me immediately. Dad. This is childish. Marissa. You are proving exactly why we had to set boundaries. I made coffee. I packed Noah's lunch. I did not answer. At 9:06, Marissa sent a screenshot into the chat. It was from the caterer. Per written request from contracted client Lauren Whitaker, the event scheduled for May 18th has been canceled. Then came the explosion. Cousin Beth. Wait, Lauren was the contracted client? Aunt Diane. I thought Carol and Jim paid for everything. Marissa. She offered. Nobody forced her. Dad. That is not the point. Mom. We never said she couldn't come to the anniversary, just smaller family gatherings for now. I stared at that lie. My father had said all Whitaker family events. My mother had nodded. 12 hands had gone up, and my son had heard every word. For the first time, I typed. Me. Last night, Dad said Noah and I were banned from all family events until further notice. Since the anniversary was included and all vendor contracts were in my name and paid from my account, I canceled my obligations. No one else is prevented from booking their own event. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then Marissa wrote, "You selfish witch." And that was when I knew she was panicking. Not because the party was ruined, because the math was about to become visible. At 10:12, Karen emailed the venue cancellation confirmation. Attached beneath it was the forged contact change form. She wrote, "As discussed, the venue recognizes you as the sole client of record. We have reversed the unauthorized contact update." I saved that too. At 10:26, my father called from his office phone. I answered because I wanted to hear how he would try to sound reasonable. "Lauren," he said, already angry, "you need to undo this." "I can't. You will call them back." "No. This was your mother's 40th anniversary. It's also my bank account." A silence, then colder. "So this was always about money." "No. Last night was about respect. This morning is about liability." He scoffed. "Don't use work words with me." "Someone forged my signature on a venue authorization." The line went quiet, not shocked quiet, calculating quiet. Finally, he said, "Marissa was trying to help. She signed my name. She was under pressure because you're unreliable." I almost laughed. I had been reliable enough to pay, reliable enough to plan, reliable enough to absorb complaints, cover balances, and make sure my mother got peonies in the exact shade of blush she wanted. But the second I stopped being silent, I became unreliable. "Dad," I said, "if you want an anniversary party, you can book one." "You know we can't get Millstone now." "That isn't my problem." His voice dropped. "You are going to regret humiliating your mother." I looked toward the living room, where Noah's backpack sat by the door, the brownies still untouched inside a plastic container. "No," I said. "I regret letting you humiliate my child." Then I hung up. At noon, Marissa showed up at my workplace. My receptionist, Tasha, called my desk in the voice she used for people who were about to become a problem. "Lauren, there's a woman here saying she's your sister." I closed my eyes. "Is she yelling?" "Not yet, but she's dressed like she might." I told Tasha I'd meet her in the lobby because the last thing I needed was Marissa marching past payroll with her designer purse and her victim face. When I stepped out, she was standing by the ficus, sunglasses on top of her head, holding a manila envelope like she'd come prepared to serve me. "You need to fix this," she said. "No." Her mouth tightened. "You don't even know what I'm asking." "Yes, I do." She shoved the envelope at me. "Here. Mom made a list of what's still salvageable. You can call the caterer back. The bakery said they might still do the cake if you apologize." I didn't take it. Marissa glanced at Tasha, who was pretending very hard to type. Then my sister lowered her voice. "You are embarrassing the entire family. You forged my signature." Her expression flickered, just for half a second. Then she rolled her eyes. "Oh, please, it was an administrative thing." It was fraud. It was a contact form, with my name signed by your hand. I was trying to help Mom. You were trying to take over contracts you didn't pay for before you had me voted out. Her nostrils flared. You always do this. You make everything sound ugly. No, Marissa, you made it ugly. I made it documented. That landed. She looked over my shoulder, then leaned closer. If you go around accusing me of forgery, I'll tell everyone you canceled out of spite because Mom wouldn't let Noah be rude anymore. Something hot moved through my chest, but my voice stayed even. Say my son's name again in that tone, and this conversation ends. She laughed once. God, you're dramatic. I turned to Tasha. Please note the time my sister arrived and that I asked her to leave. Marissa blinked. Are you serious? Yes. You're going to treat me like a stranger? No, a stranger wouldn't have signed my name. Her face flushed red from her neck upward. For the first time, she looked less smug than scared. You don't understand, she hissed. Mom already told people the party was at Millstone. Dad's clients are coming. Greg's boss is coming. The twins told their school friends. You can't just destroy it. I didn't destroy anything. I removed my money and my liability. You did this knowing we can't afford to replace it. There it was. The sentence they had all been dancing around. I leaned back against the wall. Then why did you ban the person affording it? Marissa opened her mouth, but nothing came out. For once. Then her phone rang. She glanced down and turned the screen just enough for me to see Mom. Answer it, I said. She did, putting it on speaker like she wanted an audience. Did she agree? My mother asked immediately. No, Marissa snapped. My mother started crying. Not soft crying. Performance crying. The kind with breathy little breaks that used to make me fold. Lauren, she said, how can you do this to me? I felt Tasha look up. I stepped closer to the phone. Mom, last night you let 12 people vote my child out of this family. We never met Noah. He was standing next to me. You know how your father gets when he's upset. No, I know how you get when you want someone else to be the weapon. Silence. Then my mother's voice changed. The tears vanished. After everything we've done for you? I almost smiled. There it was. The family anthem. What exactly have you done for me, Mom? Marissa sucked in a breath like I'd slapped someone. My mother said, We raised you. You were legally required to. We supported you during your divorce. You told me to stay because being a single mother would make the family look bad. You are twisting history. No, I'm finally not editing it for you. Marissa jabbed the phone off speaker and stepped away, whispering furiously. I didn't try to hear. My hands were shaking now, so I clasped them behind my back. When she came back, her face was pale. Dad says if you don't reinstate the party by 5 o'clock, he's done with you. I nodded. Okay, she stared. Okay? Yes? You don't care? I cared for 34 years. I'm tired. Her eyes narrowed and the old Marissa returned. Fine. Then we'll tell everyone exactly what you did. Please do. I walked back to my desk and emailed myself a summary of the lobby conversation while it was fresh. At 4:57 p.m., my father sent one text. Last chance. At 5 o'clock, I blocked him. At 5:01, I blocked my mother. At 5:02, I blocked Marissa. For 3 peaceful minutes, my phone was silent. Then my cousin Beth messaged me privately. Hey, I didn't know you paid deposits. Can we talk? Beth and I had never been close, but she had one quality rare in my family. She asked questions before choosing a side. I called her from my car after work. The first thing she said was, I'm sorry about Noah. My throat tightened so fast I had to stare out the windshield and blink. Thank you. I mean it, she said. I saw his face last night. I should have said something. You raised your hand. I know. Her voice cracked. I thought we were voting on giving everyone a few weeks to cool off. That's what Marissa told me before you got there. I went still. What? She said you'd agreed to a break from Sunday dinners but wanted it formalized, so nobody misunderstood. She said Noah wouldn't be included. I let that settle. Marissa hadn't just forged my signature after the fact. She had staged the whole room before I walked in. Beth exhaled. When your dad said all family events, I looked at Marissa and she shook her head at me like, "Don't interrupt." I should have interrupted. I didn't absolve her. I couldn't, but I believed her. "Why are you calling?" I asked. "Because the group chat is insane. Your mom is saying you drained their anniversary fund." I laughed once, empty. There was a fund? That's what she called it. There was no fund, Beth. There were my deposits. Can you prove that? Yes. Then you should know something else. She lowered her voice. They're planning to tell the extended family you stole donated money. My fingers tightened around the steering wheel. There were no donations. I know, but Aunt Carol is crying to everyone, and your dad is saying you controlled the money because you needed power. Marissa is saying she has documents showing she was the real coordinator. The fake contact form. Of course. Beth continued. They're calling Grandma Ruth tonight. If she believes them, everyone will. Grandma Ruth wasn't technically my grandmother. She was my grandfather's sister, 81 years old, sharp as broken glass, and the unofficial judge of every Whitaker dispute since 1973. She had also raised half the family when their parents drank, divorced, or disappeared. If Ruth said you were wrong, Thanksgiving chairs moved. I thanked Beth and drove home. Noah was at the kitchen table doing math homework with his headphones on. He looked up when I came in. Are they mad? Yes. Because of me? I dropped my bag so hard it fell over. No, absolutely not. He pulled one headphone off. If I didn't ask about the cake... I knelt beside his chair. Listen to me. You asked a fair question. Adults made bad choices after that. That is not your burden. His eyes filled. Grandpa looked at me like I did something wrong. I wanted to burn the whole world down. Instead, I said, Grandpa was wrong. After dinner, I opened a new email and addressed it to Grandma Ruth. Subject: documentation regarding anniversary event. I kept it short. Ruth, I understand there may be confusion about Mom and Dad's anniversary party. I want to be clear before misinformation spreads. I did not steal or hold any family funds. No anniversary fund existed. All deposits were paid by me directly to vendors under contracts in my name. After Dad announced that Noah and I were banned from all Whitaker family events, I canceled my contracts so I would not remain financially responsible for an event we were excluded from. Attached are confirmations from the venue, caterer, bakery, photographer, and florist. Also attached is a form submitted by Marissa attempting to change the venue contact using a signature that is not mine. I am not asking you to take sides. I am asking that no one repeat claims that I stole money. Lauren, I attached everything. Then I paused. There was one more file. A photo Beth had just sent me. My father's handwritten vote list from the meeting. Names, check marks. At the top, in block letters, agenda. Lauren/Noah removal from family events. So much for cooling off. I attached it too. At 9:14 p.m., I hit send. At 9:32, Grandma Ruth called. Her voice was flat. Did you send me forged papers? No. Good, because if you did, I'd know. I almost smiled. She said, Your sister is a fool. I stayed quiet. Your father is worse. Your mother is crying so hard she forgot to make sense. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Then Ruth asked, How much did you lose in deposits? About $6,200. Another silence. You have canceled everything? Yes. Good. That one word nearly broke me. Then she said, Be at my house Saturday at noon. Bring Noah. Bring every receipt. Don't tell your mother. Why? Because I'm calling a family meeting. My stomach dropped. Ruth, I can't put Noah through another vote. There won't be a vote, she said. There will be a counting. On Saturday, I arrived with a binder and my son, and every person who had raised a hand against us was already there. Grandma Ruth's dining room had never felt so small. My parents sat side by side, my mother clutching tissues, my father staring at the wall like eye contact was beneath him. Marissa sat near the window with Greg behind her, arms crossed. No one smiled this time. Ruth pointed to the chair beside her. "Lauren, sit. Noah, sweetheart, there's lemonade in the kitchen and cookies on the counter." Noah looked at me. I squeezed his shoulder. "It's okay." He went, but not far. I knew he was listening. Ruth tapped the binder I'd brought. "We are going to discuss facts." My mother sniffed. "Aunt Ruth, I don't think this is necessary." "Carol, I have sat through 3 of your bridal showers, 2 of your silent treatments, and 1 Christmas where you accused a 6-year-old of stealing ribbon. I will decide what's necessary." Nobody breathed. Ruth opened the binder. Venue deposit, paid by Lauren. Caterer deposit, paid by Lauren. Bakery, photographer, florist, invitations, tent hold, paid by Lauren. She turned each page slowly. Total documented deposits, $6,213. My father's jaw moved. She offered. Ruth looked at him. "And you accepted. Repeatedly." Marissa leaned forward. Nobody asked her to cancel. "No," Ruth said. "You only asked 12 people to raise their hands and remove her from the events her bank account was supporting." Beth stared at the table. Uncle Ray muttered, "That wasn't how it was explained." Ruth slid the agenda page into the center of the table. Lauren/Noah removal from family events. My mother stopped crying. Ruth's finger landed on the next page. "Now, this." The forged authorization form. Marissa's face went white. Ruth said, "Did you sign your sister's name?" Marissa laughed, but it came out thin. "It was just to help coordinate." "Did you sign it?" My father snapped, "Ruth, this is between sisters." "No, James, this is between right and wrong." Greg shifted behind Marissa. "Marie." She turned on him. "Don't." That one word told everyone enough. Ruth closed the binder. "Here is what will happen. No one will say Lauren stole money. No one will say she ruined a party she was banned from attending. Anyone who repeats that lie will answer to me." My mother whispered, "But our anniversary." Ruth looked at her, and for the first time in my life, my mother looked small. "Carol, your anniversary is not more important than your grandson." Noah appeared in the doorway, cookie untouched in his hand. My father saw him and looked away. That hurt more than anything he could have said. Ruth stood. "Lauren owes none of you an apology. Marissa owes Lauren one. James and Carol owe Noah one." No one spoke. Then my father pushed back his chair. "I won't be lectured in this house." Ruth smiled without warmth. "Then leave it." He did. My mother followed him, crying again, but softer now because nobody chased her. Marissa stayed just long enough to hiss, "You happy?" I looked at my son in the doorway. "No," I said, "but I'm free." She left too. The apologies never came. Not real ones. A week later, my mother mailed a card that said, "Sorry feelings were hurt," which I returned unopened. My father sent nothing. Marissa blocked me everywhere, then unblocked me twice to post quotes about betrayal. But something unexpected happened. People started paying me back. Beth sent $300 with a note, "For the hand I raised." Uncle Ray mailed a check. Aunt Diane dropped off cash in an envelope and cried on my porch. Even Ruth insisted on covering the bakery deposit, though I argued until she told me not to be stupid. I didn't recover all of it. But I recovered enough to understand the money had never been the real loss. The real loss was the years I spent buying a seat at a table where my child could still be voted out. 6 months later, Noah and I hosted our own gathering. Nothing fancy. Just pizza, grocery store cupcakes, folding chairs in the backyard, and people who knew the difference between help and entitlement. Beth came. Ruth came. 2 cousins came with their kids. Tasha from work brought pasta salad and somehow became Noah's favorite adult by teaching him poker with jelly beans. At sunset, Noah carried a cupcake to Ruth and asked if she wanted the first candle. She said, "Only if you blow it out with me." So they did, cheek to cheek, laughing when the flame fought back. I stood on the porch watching my son's face glow in that tiny circle of light, and I realized family was not the people who raised their hands against you. Family was the people who reached for you afterward. And if you were in my shoes, would you have canceled every deposit too? If this story stayed with you, tell me in the comments what you would have done in my place. And if you want more stories like this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.